Okay, so today I want to basically talk about how you guys can help me out fill in basically the statistic form to have more data, right? So of course we have gathered so far 9 days. There is another trader called Gabriel that is also helping, but the more we'll have people, the more we will be able to have correct statistics on the failed two-legged pullback, right? So today we kind of already have a slight idea of what is working, not working, but again, that's not enough, right? So I'm going to give you some guidelines first on if you want to join and also fill in the form, okay? So basically, the form has several columns. The Google Sheet has several columns. So first, if you want to fill in, you can ask. So if you go on the link, normally you should be able to ask to have edit access, right? So once you have edit access, I will give it to you. And then what will happen is that you will be able to change the columns and whatsoever. So there is plenty of columns, right? So you need to know how to fill it in. And even if you don't know how to fill it in, it's okay, because what I will do is that I will correct every single, so I will review what you are doing, right? So for example, now there is like Gabriel that has, I give you an example. So Dean, myself, we have filled in. So Gabriel, who just joined like yesterday, he started doing screenshots and putting the statistic, right? So he put only the screenshot for now for this, but he still need to fill it in, right? But what will happen is that once he fill it in, I will still go into it to check if he has filled it correctly. The idea is more also for the person to train himself to see what are failed two-legged pullback, what are the situation, what seems to work and what doesn't seem to work, right? If you do it on your own, as I said, you will build muscle memory on what is working and not working. Okay, so now that this is said, let's go into the columns that we have. So we have several columns, right? So number one, we have the date of review. So the date of review should be on a specific format, which is YYY okay, so 2020-0520. So you have a tab basically on the file that is called Guideline to fill the review. Then you have something called a screenshot. So I say that ideally try to maximize your screenshot to fit this space, and try to put like a mark on what is the candlestick that you're taking, okay? So the signal bar. To know if it's a win or not, so the strategy is, I repeat, basically what we're playing is a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, but fixed, meaning that if it don't touch 2 point stop loss and first touch the 2 point win, then it's a win, right? So yeah. Other stuff, so EMA bounce. So sorry, let's talk about the trend. So the trend is simply, we're not talking about angling up or angling down. It's simply the positioning of the SMA and the EMA. Okay, so if the SMA is above the EMA, then it's a short and it's with the trend. If it's SMA below EMA, then it's okay for long, and it will be considered as with the trend. So it will be 1 for with the trend, yeah. Then you will have something called EMA bounce. So for this, you have 3 options. So 0, 1, and 2. So what it is, 0, it doesn't bounce. 1, it bounce, but bounce means that you are with the trend. Okay, so let's say you are taking a short, the SMA is above the EMA, and the candle touch the EMA. But if it's counter trend, we call it a touch. Like here, we are going long, but the SMA is above the EMA, and still the candlestick is touching the EMA, right? So that will be coded as 2. So you will see 0, 1, 2, okay? Then a good candle. So to know if it's a good candle or not, it's very, very simple. If it's long, it needs to close on its top 25%. If it's short, it needs to close on its bottom 25%, okay? So nothing fancy, and this will give a clear guideline on what is good and not good, okay? Then you have early in the party. So for early in the party to be filled in, but you basically need the SMA to be angling up. Okay, so let's take an example of someone who has put like an early in the party. So let's say Dean. So here he codified this one as 1, so we can see that the SMA is angling up, and then it's with the trend. So this will be early in the party because it is the first retrace, or maybe even the second retrace after the SMA is angling up, right? So it's still early in the party. So this, the candlestick, does it touch the fib? So on this, I will put like a new codification, which is 0, 1, or 2. Okay, so 0 means that it doesn't touch the fib level, right? So example over here. So I just fill in. So if I zoom a little bit, you can see on my candle that here it touch, right? So it will be 1. If it doesn't touch, like let's say here, it's obvious. So I often don't draw it when it's obvious. Like if I draw from the low to the high, here for sure it doesn't retrace to the 50%. So this will be 0. And then I have another case, which I will call 2, where the price retraces below the 61.8. Okay. So this is also to understand if it retraces below, does it have a correlation with winning trades or not? Okay. And then finally, so the color of the candle, so 1 or 0. So this is part of the Papa score. So this needs absolutely to be filled. And the rest are a little bit optional, but it's also good if you have it. So I have a column called color green. So this will be if the candlestick is green, the color, then it will be like 1, if not 0. We'll have something called an external retrace on the failed to legged pullback. So what it means is if you count your up, down, up on an uptrend and the 2 is lower than 1, it's called an external. Okay, so we'll do a specific use case on this. Then down, up, down. On the short, if the 2 is higher than 1, then it's called an external retrace. Okay, so again, example, because I want you to understand exactly what it means. So let's take a look at when we had an external fill as 1. So you have this column called, where is it? External. So here we have it at 1. So here we take a look at the trade. And here we can see that we have up, down. But the starting point was here and the finish point is here. So 2 is lower than 1, so it's an external. This is a particular failed to legged pullback that we'll probably not talk about on what we want to optimize, but I still want to log it in, right? If you forget about it, then it's still fine. Then finally, there is the outside bar setup. So basically, is when the setup happen, so where you need to anticipate basically the stop sell, right? So basically, here you had a down, up, right? And then the candle, to be able to take this trade, you should have anticipated the sell stop. So this is again a particular failed to legged pullback that I don't want to talk about, that I want to isolate on the dashboard, right? So you will see it on the dashboard also. You have 2 filters. Basically, I'm only taking the failed to legged pullback that are not outside bars, so where you don't need to anticipate, and second, that are not external retrace. Okay. So you will see also stuff like size of the candle that could also be good to have. So if you are on your chart, as I said, put the ATR indicator and then middle click on your chart, and then you will have the size of the candle. Okay, so for example, on this failed to legged pullback, the size of the candle was 5 points. Okay, so that's pretty much what you need to know to fill in the form, right? So again, if you want to help, just ask access. You can do it via clicking over here, like you can ask access to myself. Then you'll have also a chat where you can ask a question to Dean or myself or even Gabriel, right? Now, another stuff is yeah, so this is basically the guideline, right? So I don't want to finish the video on the guideline, so I also want, since it's a bootcamp, we are at day number 2, or number 3, sorry. So the idea was for you to also go on the live chart, try to check what is happening, try to draw live your failed two-legged pullback and see what is good or not, right? But I want to give you some advice on before we wait for the stat, on what you can also look at for good failed two-legged pullback. Okay, so and specifically for reversal. So it's something that I've written on the Facebook group, and basically I'm gonna share it out now. So basically what I've written is first, what I also want you guys to do is maybe every morning, or I don't know, you review your chart 10 minutes and you say how many failed two-legged pullback and two-legged pullback you found. So this time I did it on the pre-market. On the pre-market, I said that I found 6 long and 4 short, right? So this is what we have: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 long and 1, 2, 3, 4 shorts. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. And then I also explain a particular use case, so where you need to train yourself. So as I said, it's very important when you trade to have market structure. Okay, and one thing that you will see that I will maybe add in one of the column, right, is basically you can start looking for failed two-legged pullback that are not with the trend if you have enough impulsive wave on the opposite direction. Okay, because as I said, after 2 retrace, not only your probability that the price will go higher will diminish. So the higher you go, the better it is for you to take a reversal. Okay, so let's take an example on this trade. Okay, so I'm gonna screenshot it. Right, so I screenshot this, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. So every time that you look at this, the idea is to try to count on your side the number of impulsive moves. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then once you have, let's say, at least 3, then you can check if you have a failed two-legged pullback, and often, right, it will be a good one to take, right? But again, you need to try it out. We'll see it via the statistic. Count if it's obvious. If it's difficult to count, don't count it, right? But yeah, always try to count your impulsive move before taking like a failed two-legged pullback. So here, also impulse, what it means to have an impulse. So the candle of the impulse. So this one needs to close above. So the body of the candle needs to close above the high, right? So here, this body, it closes above this high. This body, it closes above this high. This body closes above this high. Okay, so the entire body, right? So yeah, so maybe another use case, let's say here you have another failed two-legged pullback, but you had like 1, 2, 3. Okay, so is 3 is enough? So you see, and this 3 is also lower than this one, right? So it's just for you to have a feel every time. Start counting your impulse just to see. So you have a down, up, down. This move was not really good, so it's a win, but because you have a 1-point scalp, but it's not a very good move, right? And you can do the reverse side also. So I mean, like, let's say you wanted to take this long one, so the up, down, up over here, right? So maybe let me change color. So lime. So you have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. But this 4 is not, this close is not lower than this one. So this is like a failed impulsive move, I will call it. But anyway, so you have kind of 3 or 4 impulsive move on the downside, and then you have a failed two-legged pullback, so up, down, up, which work, right? So always try to count this. Here you have a 1, 2, okay, and then failed two-legged pullback, up, right? And what you will see is often to take reversal, right? If you have 3 or more, it's a good time to take like trade that are not with the trend. So meaning the SMA and the EMA position are not correct. So this is the first thing that I wanted to share, okay, that you can train. Second thing that I wanted to share that you can train is basically, as you know, I don't play with channels, okay, because I don't know how to draw them. But when they are obvious, I like to draw them, okay. So I don't draw a channel, but I will take something called a ray, right? So you go into your tool, you have a ray, and then I will try to connect as much point as possible. So on this one, normally, if you were here, what you will try to do, right, is you will simply try to connect this with your ray, right? So let's say that you didn't see this. You take your ray and then you try to connect. So these 3 things. So you have 1, 2, 3 touch, okay? And then you can see that the price often bounce all of this, and this will help you to have kind of the global direction of the trend and on which side you should play the failed two-legged pullback. Okay, so for example here, you have like 1, 2 touch, right? So what I will do is that I will simply draw a ray, right, over here, right? So it will say to me what's happening. When I see this, I will draw the ray like this. I will just change it, and that's it. I don't want to complicate myself. I'm not drawing all the channels on the bottom. I don't need it, right? But it's just, if you have something obvious, then just draw it out. And you can see that here it was the first break of the structure, which is probably a good swing trade, right? Anyway, so those was the 2 things that I wanted to share with you. So yeah, try to, as I said, go into your chart and try to count the impulsive move, right? So again, example, over here, let's say you have seen this super down move. So how many impulse you have? You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you have a failed two-legged pullback. It didn't really work, right? It didn't give you your 1-point scalp, but it could have been an okay stuff to look at. And then you have another one, it fails again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So the higher is your number of impulse, right, the better it will be for you to try to take a reversal, okay? So this is pretty much what I wanted to share. So I repeat 2 things. You'll have the guideline. Please send me a request if you want to. The guideline are written also on this tab. You can try it out. I think that it will help you out to just draw yourself, see what works, doesn't work. If you don't have time to help, it's also okay, right? It's okay. Second is think about what I said. Try to draw maybe your number of failed two-legged pullback and so on when they are live, right? But of course, go into your sim account, don't play your real money, I repeat, right? It will be crazy. Try to see what works, what doesn't work. You can take them all, actually. So let's say I wanted to take a trade now. So I don't know. So up, down, up. I don't have a two-legged pullback situation, but I don't know. Maybe one will happen now, right? So I anticipate maybe one will happen, and we'll see what it will be. So I'm gonna place. Well, I think it's gonna be too long for the bar to form. But obviously, when I see this, if I see the failed two-legged pullback move, I will just place a sell stop. So sell stop market, and then I will drag it when it happens, right? And then see how it goes, right? So that you can also see what fails, what doesn't fail. It will go inside your mind, right? It's okay to take them all and see what works and what doesn't work, right? Like that, it will build muscle memory. And then at the end, as I said, we are building like a statistic sheet where we'll see what is the probability that certain move work depending on the parameters. So with the trend, EMA bounce, candlestick, and whatsoever. So it will guide you even more on what is working or not, right? So again, interesting stuff now is if you have 0 parameter, you better not take the trade, right? Because it's only 46% win rate. And if you have more than 2 or more, The probability is still good, right? And you can also look at the dashboard and start looking at what is good and not good. It's updated on a daily basis when Dean, myself, or Gabriel have time, right? So yeah, this was Papa from streetfighter trainingsystem.com. See you on the next video.